Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's video is an album review on Lament by Ultravox. I have the old cassette here. I have quite a few copies of this. This is the Japanese version. I also have an original American version, an original UK, and I also got the 2016 or 2000 was it 2018 reissue as well. I was thinking about getting the recent box set. But I don't feel like spending $100 on it, or whatever it is, $80 or something. I'm wearing my Ultravox Raiden Egen shirt. I picked that out today, and so I figured out let me do an Ultravox album review. I do really enjoy Ultravox music. I think Major is a very talented musician and an amazing human being, and just your ideal artist when it comes to just how they act. Just very humble, very nice, very respectful. Man, it's just people from Scotland and Ireland are such nice people. I've never met, sure I've met a few like maybe drunk Irish people or drunk Scottish people, and you kind of see the bad of people when you see people drinking, but I don't think I've ever met an Irish person or a Scottish person that I didn't like. They're always just really jolly and really happy and just really humble, respectful, nice people. Just very good people. Not that there's a lot of not people in other countries and stuff, but I just wanted to mention that because Midger is Scottish. But yeah, so I'm doing a review on Lament today. This album, you'll have to bear with me, I'm reading my notes here. I'm going to go song by song and rate each song and then the overall album. So this album came out in 1984. This is basically their last, what many people think is their last good album. But they had quite a role with, people really enjoy the John Fox era, and I do like the John Fox era. And then, so I think there was 3 albums in the John Fox era, and then you have Vienna, Quartet, Lament, and Rage and Eden. So just 4 super strong albums in Ultravox in like 4 years. I think that's it, right? It's Quartet. Yeah, it's 4 albums. I feel like I'm missing one, but yeah, 4 albums in like 4 years. Just their output, such a great output for 4 years, and this it's a really close for me. It's a very close, and it's really hard to choose a favorite of the 4 albums if I had to do it right ahead. I mean, this probably doing a review on each will help that. Get a little. It'll force me to pick an opinion in a way because it'll make me compare them to each other, and I can see strong things in each album. Vienna, Quartet. I really like some songs on Quartet. Maybe Quartet. I think if people were to rate, I think people would probably say Vienna's the best, and then Rage and Eden, and then Lament, and then Quartet. But I really like some stuff on Quartet, and Lament's it has some personal song favorites in there, so yeah, so it would be super close. But yeah, this album was released in 1984. It starts out with White China, which I really like the beat. Great rhythms, it's futuristic. Lyrics might be a little bit suspect. I don't know if he's really talking about cocaine or what. I've never really looked into that. I'm the first to admit I'm not huge when it comes to lyrics. I might sing along. I might, enjoy the chorus. Some lyrics, sink in, but I'm kind of I'll more pick up on their tone of their voice and the cadence of their voice and how they sing and how it fits into the music a lot more than what they say. I remember when I was growing up and was listening to hip hop, and some people were like, "Well, why do you listen to hip hop? Like, what do you get out of that?" Like, and I was just like, "Well, I don't actually. I like the music more so than what necessarily the message, but." Some people really get into the message of things, and I get that. I mean, it's especially with certain genres, the message is really important. But So to me, it's really about how the music moves me. So not really, I don't really judge the lyrics a lot, unless it is kind of special. I think out of all these tracks, I may mention the lyrics. I like the lyrics in maybe one song, but I don't mention that I don't like the lyrics in any song. So any other song. So it's just not something that's a high priority to me. I think of the human voice as an instrument in itself, not necessarily the communicator or vehicle for language. I don't really see that. Like for me, it pales in comparison to the emotion of the song and the just the entire mood, what it's trying to express, and things like that. So the voice is just the instrument inside that, and if you have 10 different drum instruments and guitar and bass and all those things and keyboards and stuff like that, it's just one of many instruments in the song. So it's just not something I really like focus on. Even though you'll sing along to something and you may not even know what it means, right? But that's kind of the interesting thing with music, and in a way that kind of proves what I feel about that is it doesn't matter what a song says. If it sings it and you like the song, you'll sing along. It's not necessarily that you have the same interest or same opinion as that person who wrote the song, right? So it's I can give some funny examples of that, but I'm sure you can think about it yourself. But yeah, White China. I really like the verses and the chorus. I like the way Midge Ear sings it. I think it's aged really well, considering it's a dance song, and it's when you think of it's 43 years old and it's still got that great hook and great beat, and it comes out like swinging, just comes out of the box, and I think in a lot of ways I wonder if it's inspired by Blue Monday in a way because of the beat. It kind of has that kind of beat. Is it inspired by Blue Monday? I don't know, but it still has that kind of. There's not many tracks that has a unique beat in it, and it sticks around and is unique for 40 years. And White China could be that. I like it because it's nice and concise too. I feel like I'm rating this a little low, but I have it three and a quarter stars. Why am I rating it a little bit low? That for the songs, that's 3 is very good for me. So it's a very good song for sure. And it's higher than very good because I got it in 3/4. So it's a strong song. I don't think it gets into the 4s for me. And I can't really pinpoint why. Just not there, I think. But again, I really really like it. I just feel like I'm rating it low, but I feel okay with it. I don't. If I was to go 3.5 or 3 3/4 stars, I know it's not a 4-star song. I'll put it that way. But could it be 3.5 stars, 3 3/4? Possibly, it possibly could, especially in the right moment. But I feel like 3 1/4 stars is a very fair score because it was a little short. Um, it's a pretty straightforward song. I don't think it has any ups and downs per se or any particular. It doesn't hit me like some of the other tracks on here do, for example, or comparing it to another band. So then we got One Small Day. This is a really uplifting, great, energetic chorus. The keyboard's great. I think it's a great combination of rock music and rock and keyboards. I think it blends great on the rock and keyboard sound. Solid lyrics. I wrote that in there. One day. I think it is an impactful chorus. The lyrics, and that is one song that does stick out in my mind as far as maybe I should have the lyrics here with me, but if you know One Small Day, it's about what I gather. It's about living together in peace and in unity and having that kind of desire to be together as one with other races and other people and stuff like that. So it's I mean, it's a great message for sure. And it goes great with the uplifting kind of energetic chorus and the whole sound of it. So I do recognize the lyrics in that one for sure. Um, in a perfect, I always say this about like Ultravox, and I also say this about Simple Minds. Like they didn't get the respect that they deserved, and even OMD for when you compare the success that like Depeche Mode got, or even New Order, I feel like Ultravox, Japan, OMD, and Simple Minds didn't really get the American success that they deserved. People think of Simple Minds as a one-hit wonder, which is freaking crazy. People don't even know. Probably people don't even really know Ultravox, and they know New Wave. So people don't. Japan was a little bit. They kind of bowed out a little early, so I understand why a lot of people don't know about Japan. And then you have OMD, which they're almost considered a one-hit wonder as well. So it's kind of sad. But in a perfect world, like these four bands would have been as big as U2. Like that would be my perfect world music scenario. That Simple Minds, OMD, Ultravox in Japan would be as big as U2 was, and I think Bono knew that. There's quite a few mentions how, not really envious, but he really looked up to Midge Ure as somebody who really was a great lyricist. I mean, Bono has some ways that he sings that it works for the music that it is, but he's not necessarily a great singer. I think Midge Ure is a little stronger than he is. Maybe not as unique as Bono. I mean, Bono's kind of a little bit more unique. Midge Ure's very polished with his microphone technique and the way he sings things and the way it fits into the music. I think a little bit more than Bono. So for me, I like it. I like his voice a little bit better. Jim Kerr is I think on another level than either of Midge Ure personally, because I really like what he does live, and when he ad libs live, like it works. Jim Kerr works, and there's not too many artists for me that can ad lib live and it still work. He doesn't necessarily have a fantastic voice, but the voice he has is the way he uses it. I would say it's over those two artists, and then David Sylvain's just he's actually on a different level as far as emotion and some of the tones he hits and just a really unique voice. He's on a different level than even those. But I feel like Bono really looked up to Ultravox, and I mean back in the 82, 83, 84, U2 was still on the rise. Ultravox was already a major hit. They had a #2 song in UK in 1980. I don't think U2 ever had a top 5 song in UK, not even when they hit it big. And again, they were more in America, and they have some big hits in America. But I just feel like Ultravox should have got more respect, and it's too bad they didn't stick together. Maybe their next album, which was Vox, which turned out to be not very good, probably because they weren't on great terms. But if they were on good terms and that album would have been better, maybe they would have made it, because that was been right around 85, 86. And so maybe they would done some bigger things. But Midge Ure's been solo and he had some success, but I still feel like they don't get the American respect that they deserve. Anyways, but that's what I think about when I think about One Small Day. It's just One Small Day is such a anthemic big song. Like it's just like if you go hear him when they play it at Live Aid in '85. I mean, it's a powerful song. It's just like it's a shame that it didn't even chart in America, and it didn't do fantastic in the UK either. I mean, I think it made the top 40, but I feel like the song was a little disrespected in a way. So I think it's better than a lot of people think it is. So I have it as 4 stars on this. It's actually my second most liked song on this album. And then going on to Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, which is probably their most popular song and their most recognized song. It's obviously one of their biggest hits I have. The piano's really strong. Great chorus, no doubt. It flows really great. I have it at 3 3/4 stars. It's almost at a 4 for me. It's not necessarily something I would like one day. I know I've played over and over and over and over. I don't really do that with Dancing with the Stars, but I respect it for what it is, and it's really that close. And it is a really good song. It's just not something I necessarily gravitate towards playing a lot, and that kind of hurts it a little bit. 3.5 stars, I think, would probably be ideal for this, but I have it at 3 3/4 because it's definitely a song that I definitely respect in a lot of ways. Then I have Lament, which is my favorite song on the album, the title song. It's moody, it's great piano and keyboard. I like the way Midger sings it. The chorus is awesome. It's cool keyboard solo. Obviously, the final chorus is amazing in my opinion. Just when he does the oh on it and the way that he sings that, just the overall mood of the song. It might be a little bit too simple. Maybe that would hurt it a little bit. I feel like I'm overrating it a little bit, but because how simple it is. But for me, it's a moody song, and I love moody songs, and it's just a song that you play over and over again. For me, I don't know how you guys feel about Lament, but I've played it on hours on end. The live version for when they got back together, the Rage in Eden version. Google Ultravox. Well, go to YouTube and search for Ultravox Lament Rage in Eden version, and you see his facial expressions and the way he sings it, and he's so happy singing it, and he's just like he has his face. If you've seen it and you really watched it a few times, like I have, I've watched it so many times. He is singing it, and he's like, yeah, this was a great song. 36 years later from when he wrote it, right? Or roughly in that time, it was 2010, so maybe almost 30 years later, 26 years later, and he's singing it like, man, this is a great song. Yep, it's a great song. That's how he's singing it, and it's just, and you're like, and you're just agreeing. You're like, yeah, this song is amazing, and it's just such a cool moment. I feel like I'm overrating it for how simple it is, but I got 4.5 stars. I just love it. It's probably my favorite Ultravox song. It's hard to put anything over that in Ultravox, and maybe that's going to be the other interesting thing. And that's one thing I'm going to like to do is once I get once I review the Ultravox albums, then I can, and I review the tracks because I'm saving these to a folder that I have just album reviews, and then I can take the songs and then rate and hopefully do like a top 20 for a lot of the artists and things like that. So kind of future plans with doing the ratings and doing these reviews and things like that is for me personally, anyways. But yeah, Lament's amazing song. So it'll be interesting to see if I have any song that's higher than Lament. I do really like Thin Wall, just off the top of my head. That's going to be a tough. I really like that song. Yeah. Then you flip over to the other side. There's 4 songs on each side of the record. Man of Two Worlds. A solid track. I really like the female vocal edition, which I think is the highlight to the track. The keyboard has a little mysterious feel and mysticism, which I think is really cool, especially when she does her little flow. The piano's nice. I really, it's an underrated track in my opinion on the album. I have it higher than White China. I have it at 3.5 stars, which is right under Dancing with Tears in My Eyes. So I really like this track. Also, then you have Heart of the Country. Guitar's cool. I like the sounds, though the way Midge sings it. I really like the melody layering, the combination of the keyboards layering, the piano, and then the chimes. I have it at 3 3/4, so it's right up there, close to 4 stars. So I really like that song. it's my favorite song on the second side. When the Time Comes is my least liked song on the album. I still have it at 3 stars. It's good. It's grown on me over the years. It sounds like a fretless bass in there, like Mick Karn's from Japan. Sounds like a fretless bass in there, which is really cool. I got 3 stars, so it's still a very good song. Just my least liked of the album, and I'm saying that respectfully. And then the last song on the album is "A Friend I Call Desire." This one's grown on me a lot over the years as well. It's so, I don't know if you guys are like this, but you play an album and you're like, oh, I'm going to play this album, and then you get halfway through and you don't finish it. That's kind of how this album has been like this for my entire life. And so as the second side kind of goes on, I feel like I should like it less and less, but the songs have kind of grown on me to where I wouldn't say the second side is equal to the first side at all, because the first side is better, especially thanks to Lament and One Day. But the other tracks, the two best tracks on B-side, I have almost equal to, if not equal to Dancing with in My Eyes and White China. So it is kind of balanced in some ways. I have Friend I Call Desire at 3.5 stars. I like the guitar riff. The futuristic keyboard has a nice, cool, futuristic sound to it. Good alternative sound. I feel like this would have been a nice direction for the band to go. And get a little bit darker. It has a little bit, wouldn't say darker, but it has a little bit more serious keyboard on it that I really like, and feel like they could have expanded upon this and made another album or so. Yes, that's my reviews on the album. So no song lower than a 3. I got 2 in the 4s with One Day at 4 and Lament at 4.5. So really strong album. I think of the overall good of it, the songs, the mix of styles. There's dance, there's rock, there's a ballad in there. So it has a good mix of all of the Ultravox styles, which I think all the Ultravox albums do a good job of doing that. And I think in some ways probably each album has kind of set the tone for the next album, because you have Vienna. You have, like, when you think of ballads, you have Vienna, and then you have Lament, and then so every song kind of has Visions of Blue, right? So every album kind of has that one ballad, and every song has a rockier album, a couple songs, and then the most are kind of electronic, kind of dance, new wave. So they seem to have a good balance on every album, and no doubt here as well with Lament. When I think of the bad things on the album, 37 minutes long. I know in the early 80s, especially like before 85, this is standard 30 to 40 minute albums, sometimes as low as 30 minutes, but 35 to 40 minutes is 35 to 42, 43 minutes, somewhere in there is standard, and it's right in there. So I can't really argue that it's a little short, even though it has 8 songs. But, if I think about it, then that is kind of a one thing to note that only has 8 songs on it. I mean, that's a little light on content. The production is muddy. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of the Ultravox, which is a shame, because I feel like I don't know who engineered their stuff off the top of my head. I'm sure if somebody's mentioned it or I read it, then I would remember who did it. But I pick up the Japanese version, like I can read Japanese. That's not going to tell me. Let me read the cassette here. So, just because I'm curious, it says produced by Ultravox. Okay, so this kind of good. As much as I love Ultravox, and when you don't have somebody come in who's a producer by trade that you respect, then I think that's an opportunity of possibly it being better than it could. And I just had deja vu by saying this. You ever guys had a deja vu? I just had a deja vu by saying this. Ultravox is hurt a little bit by their producing, and it's because they produce their stuff. And I know how Midger is. He is very hands-on when it comes to it, and that probably created some friction in the band, because I know a lot of people who really like John Fox, and they really like Ultravox side, and they'll say, Oh well, Major isn't a good singer as John Fox. John Fox is super strong, and I love John Fox's solo stuff as well. He's a fantastic artist. But I think I think. Oh, sorry, somebody just walked by. I have a window back here that people walk their dogs, and sometimes it'll be distracting because they're like, are they pooping near my freaking window? That's annoying. But I do have a nice view of some trees out here, which is really nice. So I often, when I talk, I often kind of drift off into the looking at the star. My apartment, my flat is kind of sunk down like 6, 7 feet, maybe from the top there, so it stays really cool here, which is one nice thing. But in the winter, it's expensive to heat because it's not gas, it's electric, and but it stays really cool, and I have a nice view in the back. So I really like this particular area of Pennsylvania. Is really nice. There's a place I can walk to and buy vegetables, everything from cantaloupe to fresh tomatoes to pumpkin to buy a Christmas tree. I mean, there's so many farms out in this area. It's really cool. As the same person just walks by again. But yeah. So I felt like this was a missed opportunity on Ultravox's part to have a good producer. Dynamically, the album is a little flat for me. It's a little muddy. And I know 80 to 84 isn't a bright spot when it comes to mastering, if they did master at all, really. And but it's considering it's analog and things like that, and there's some parts that are really flat. And what I was gonna say was Midger is very hands on, and maybe that's why he does the producing. And it says Ultravox, but I can see it's probably mostly him and Billy Currie. Billy Currie is a very accomplished composer in his own right, so I could see them probably having some qualms about certain things. I do feel like certain instruments are a little too low in the mix, bass line definitely being one, because the albums aren't.
So I've talked to a couple other ROMs, like obviously
Because he's on the phone now. Some of the instruments are a little low. I can see the drummer, blanking on his name, but I can see him being very aloof and not really, being involved in the producing process. I feel like the drums are kind of a little low. I don't know if there was some conflict there in the production and stuff like that, but just the overall levels and the mix down is subpar. So that's a small. And then that's a small. It's not horrible at all. It's just an opportunity. It could have been better. That's really the only thing that I have constructive about the album. I really like the artwork. Obviously, Peter Seville did the artwork, so it's nice and clean and minimal, which I always appreciate. I always enjoy a color photograph on like a black and white. It's got some other things too, like the art, the way that shines in the artwork. It's very Peter Seville, very minimal, very Designer Republics, if you know them. And the way they design albums as well. It's kind of got that vintage kind of new wave style and that. So it's all good there. Yeah, I think maybe just a little bit stronger songs. Maybe one more strong song in here would have raised it into the eighths for me, into the excellent. I have it at 77 out of 100, which is on the high side of very good. So a really very strong album, very good album. Be curious to see if any of the Ultravox get into the excellent, and see if anyone's better than this. It's going to be really close. Excuse me, but yeah, very strong album, and yeah, that's my review on Lament by Ultravox. And thanks so much for watching.